Hey, 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 everyone. All right. Another Sunday evening, and we live. Woo! Awesome, awesome, awesome. Hi, everyone. How you doing? Hello, 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 everybody. It's another Sunday evening, and you know what time it is. It's time to connect. All right. And today is a super amazing day. Well, to the month of April is the first episode of the month of April, and the beginning, the heralding of a brand new series. It's called the Team Building Series, and it's amazing. Big shout out to all the guests that we had in the month of March and all those that came through strongly for us during the Transforming the Narrative series. It was super amazing having all our amazing guests, joining here, sharing great value. We talked about media and information. We talked about power, and a whole lot of stuff. We talked about mental health. So massive shout out to everyone that came and joined us in the month of March of the Transforming Narrative series. So here we are in the month of April 2022, and I'm super excited to be here. We're starting a brand new series today. It's called the Team Building Series. All right, and this is particularly close to my heart because you know what? Whether you're part of the team or you're leading the team, there has to be something, some kind of hack, some kind of code that goes with highly performing teams. And we have to get down to the cracks of it and understand it and know what makes one team thrive, regardless of whatever sector that you're in, regardless of whether it's at work, career, or in church or family, whatever it is, man. The groups and teams, communities, there's something or there are some salient things that make every group, every team, every community function optimally. All right. And so amazing. I have my big brother, my big time friend and good friend and great brother joining me today, all the way from somewhere in the United Kingdom. Michael's going to be coming to the studio in a few seconds. And yes, I know that whilst we're waiting for folks to join us, people are probably wondering. So this is for those that will be catching the replay. You're wondering, I thought this was supposed to be 7 p.m. Yep. So we've decided that because of the kind of schedule that we have today, that we needed to jump in some 10 minutes earlier at 6:50 thereabouts, so we could get the show started. So by the time it's 7, we're up and running. All right. The team building series up and running. So it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing to be here. All right. So I'm going to get straight to it. I'm going to bring Michael in a bit, but I just want to give a shout out to all those joining us on Facebook, all those joining us on LinkedIn, and of course, our good friends on YouTube. All right. So I want you to run to the comment section on your device, whatever gizmo it is that you're using. Do send me a remark. Let me know where you're joining us from. Let's have your comments, your question in the course of the broadcast, and then we'll be more than glad to respond and attend to them as much as we can. All right, so I'm super, super excited again, as I always am on Sunday evenings. It's probably, well, after church, probably the best part of the day, of the Sunday for me. All right, so I'm going to get to to my waiting room right now. I already have, Michael has already been here. He's waiting, all right? He's waiting and raring to go. And I'm going to be bringing him in soon. So, YouTube, reach out. Facebook, holla at me. LinkedIn, where are you at? All right. So I'm going to go straight to the waiting room right now and drums roll and bringing in the phenomenal Michael. Okay. All right. So I think I do have Michael joining me now. So there you go. What's up, bro?
Hey, Annie, nice to have you on the platform today. Hello, everyone.
Man,
Hope you
awesome.
guys are
Awesome.
great. Oh, Annie, you have a way with words, don't you? I
What
I
can I
started,
say? What
I
can I
started
say? What
waiting
can I
and I'm
say?
thinking, you're just in the right business. You are in the right business. Like Annie said, we just wanted to we just wanted to jump on this quickly because of the schedule. But Annie, I might have a bit of flex as well, so maybe I might be able to go 10 minutes a little bit further than we
Awesome.
spoke about yesterday. So that's fine.
Isn't
So
God,
yeah,
isn't God awesome? Is God not wonderful? Thank you, Jesus.
yeah.
Awesome,
I
amazing, man.
tell you,
First off, where are you reaching us from?
So I am calling from Mottingham in London. So I stay around the Mottingham area. So it's a bit of a funny one because I'm literally in between two stations. So Eltham Station, Mottingham Station. So I live right in the middle. So yeah, for those in the southeast area, I'm quite reachable to people within the
Yeah,
southeast. But yeah, but I'm not limited in how far I can travel, as you know already.
everywhere, right? Everywhere.
So
Okay,
I'm
so
everywhere.
we're gonna get straight to it, right? Like, a bit of introduction will be in order. So, let's start out. Who's Michael? Just talk to I mean, I know who you are. I know you, but for the benefits of all those that are joining this live stream and all those that will be catching the replay in the course of a week and months to come, who's Michael?
I tell you, if you had asked me that question a couple of years back, I probably would have stuttered, not being able to answer that question. But I think over time, as you begin to get exposed to different experiences in life, you're being to be able to define yourself. Do you know what I mean? And I tell you what, I've summed myself up as one word. That word for me encapsulates who I am as a person. So Michael is the encourager. You know what I mean? I'm the catalyst for change. I believe that throughout life's experiences and the things I've, been faced with and the things I've done, are things
Yeah.
I believe I'm in a position, to encourage somebody out there who is probably thinking whether or not things are going to work out or whether or not things are going to fall into line for them. So,
Hmm.
Michael, I mean, in other words, I can just say that I'm not the sort of person that wants to give myself a platform. I'm the sort of person that believes life, I'm a believer. So I'll say God will give me a platform when I become what He wants me to be. You see, there's
Yeah.
something about, I remember when I was 20, I always wanted to be a motivational speaker, 2021,
Right.
around
Right.
21 years old. But then there was something about how can I preach what I've not experienced? How can I give somebody, say for instance, you have a headache, how can I give you headache tabs? If I haven't tested the tabs, whether it would work for me. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So over the years, what I've found is there's a time that you become that very thing that you've always spoken about. It's one thing to say you are, is another thing to become it. So I can say
Mm.
that Michael has become it. I've become the person that I wanted to be around 24 years ago. Because over that
Amazing.
24-year period, I've become it's just, I can't tell you right now, Nico, I'm a motivational speaker or I'm an encourager. I can only say to you, life's journey has taught me so much that I've become the very thing I've always wanted to be.
I like the way you put it, right? Because, for me, what I see all the time is, becoming is a process of unveiling, right? So when you are becoming, you're going through a journey, through a process of unveiling wrong concepts, wrong notions, wrong ideologies, wrong
Absolutely.
attitudes, wrong mentality, and then you are unveiling it to come to the core of who you are. And so becoming from within and not from without. And so I like the way that you put
Absolutely.
it when you said, "Look, you're the journey of becoming," and that's so true. I have a message I put out there. I think it was at the earlier part of the year. By the way, my general theme for this year is becoming. All right, so it's just amazing that
That's
here and
amazing.
then,
Yeah.
without that conversation, you're talking about becoming, and such a huge thing. And that also plays integrally in, our topic of conversation for today. We're talking about
Yeah.
the team building. And, I tagged this creating the A game in any team, any group, in any community. As long as you bring people together, how do you get people to galvanize their efforts, galvanize their vision, galvanize their, top 7-star performance, 9-star performance, rather than just being
Yeah.
a number, just being a statistic in a group? How do you get people to align with a vision? And when I started thinking of all of this, I remember the mandate that I had received, right, from I dare say, from God Himself. And, there was a time in my life, just like you, I had a lot of questions, and I still do have questions. All right, because questions are critical
Yeah.
to our experience. And so at that time, I had a lot of questions about, who do you want me to be? What am I supposed to be? And He said to me very, very clearly, right, that you are three things: you are a light, you are a voice, and you're a bridge. That's why many times you just see LBB on some of my posts now. You are a light, you are a voice,
Yeah.
and you're a bridge. And that for me showed me what it is. Okay, how do I, if I'm in a group of people, how do I shine my light for them to find their way to their own light? How am I a voice that heralds people to a level of consciousness? How am I a bridge that brings people from where the abilities of their
To
potential?
where they need to
And
be.
that
Yeah,
that totally just changed everything, and which was really what gave birth to the pathway of champions. So it's not just behold the champion. No, there's a journey, there's
absolutely.
a pathway, there's a process, there's a channel that people have to go through, and that's what I've really dedicated my life to in any cause, whether it's in business or anything, is to serve as a platform to be able to get people to come to what it takes for them to be an upper echelon of performance, upper echelon of who it is that they're called to be, an upper echelon of who it is that they have to become. So now, when we look at our conversation thus far with regards to
Yeah.
team building, what's your take on that? Activating the A game in anything. First of all, from your experience working out there in the UK, working with groups of people, managing all kinds of relationships. Man, Michael, you are the man to have for this conversation. So talk to me.
I'll tell you what, when it comes to building a team, I mean, I look at it in two ways. There's team building. So, team
Hmm.
building could be, say, for instance, a team that's already been formed and you want to increase that sort of relationship between the parties within that team. Or you can look at it from a place where you're looking at building an A team. So, there's team building, making a team even much more effective in what they do, or there is building an A team. So this is where you want to start from the scratch, where you want to build a team and you want to make that team highly performing. Now, you said something about how do you build an A team. One of the things you would agree with me, ANIEFIOK, is in this generation we're in is a fast-paced society. And because it's a fast-paced society, we're beginning to see a generation of people who are in a hurry. You
Hmm.
see what I mean? They're in a hurry and they want to get to point A or point B, whatever their point is, quickly. Now, one of the things you would find in a team is because of the nature of what we're seeing in the society we're in now, you as an organization or you as a team leader, you have to also be very adaptable as well. So, one of the key things I would say is to build an A team, you have to start from knowing the team. You see, it's very, very important that you know who is on your team. And when I
Hmm.
say no, it's not about knowing their names. Their names is fine, but you have to go beyond that. There has to be extra effort put into going beyond the name. Reason being, a team that is formed of 10 different parties, for instance, have different motivation levels and they have different things that drive them, different things that drive their performance, and different things that drives their productivity. Now, as a leader, as an organization, not understanding each party within that team can let you paint everyone with the same brush. Now, you and I know you cannot batch teach and get the best out of the individual because what's good for Tom may not be good for Harry. You see what I'm saying? So every leader should make the effort to know the team, but it also depends on the organization's approach to, say, for instance, if I hire a team, I'm hiring them with a goal in mind. I have a goal. I need X amount of people on a team to deliver the outputs that I want to see. Now, it depends on, do I have time to build that team or build that person or build those parties within the team, or do I just want the results of my project? Now, for me, for you to build an A team, you have to take the time to really know each staff. And the reason why you're doing this, honey, is I'll tell you why. There's some members of the team that always, say, for instance, because I've built teams across many charities in the UK. Now, you have people that you might have a member of the team that talks a lot. You might have another member of the team that doesn't talk as much. You might have a member of the team that is very task oriented. You might have another member of the team who is full of ideas. So if you batch teach a team, you will not be able to get the best output from each of the member of that team. Now, what I do is I take time individually to spend time with each member of the team when I hire people to on a project. So, like one thing I love that you do a lot is you're not just a teacher or a leader, you're a very personable person. Now, as a leader, you have to be personable. You have to be able to get into the world of that person to understand why have they joined your organization or why have they joined your project. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is the why they've joined is what you need to always revert back to be able to get the best performance from them. It's not always about, say, for instance, some people back in the day, they were always afraid to say, I joined because I want to earn money. Now you have to be honest to say, look, Mr. Michael joined because he wants to earn lots of money, period. Don't judge me for that. That's why I've joined your organization. Somebody else will say to you, I've joined because I want to progress within the industry. Some will say, I joined because. So you need to understand the why they've joined the organization. Now, apart from that, knowing the team, there's something that I see that has worked a lot for me. And that is, I call it the RRR approach, the responsibility, the recognition, and the rewards approach. Now, everybody wants to be identified as a very strong contributor within a team. I don't care whether that person isn't as smart as you think they should be. I don't care if you think they don't have the best ideas. You need to have a way you delegate responsibility to a member of a team. I'll tell you what always brings the best out of my team. There was a particular girl, I'll give you a story. When I was managing that girl, I realized that the girl felt very irrelevant. When I say irrelevant, it means she didn't see herself good enough for a role. But because of that reason, I delegated a very high level of responsibility to her. And what did that do to that girl? She first said to me, do you think I can do that? Absolutely. Why do you think I can do that? Then I actually because I've already, remember I told you, know your staff, right? Because I already know her, I was able to now tell her what you call it now, a characteristic that I identified with her and how that fits the task. So I say, for instance, if I say, Annie, I want you to be the spokesperson for the team, and you tell me why. One thing I know about you, Annie, is you're good with words. You have a very strong vocabulary. I've listened to you several times, and I know you're very succinct in the way you deliver your speeches, right? Now, this young girl, I literally said to her, you're a good listener. And for this project that we need somebody who can listen without interrupting. We need somebody who can understand the needs of the company we want to partner with. So I want you to be the person to lead that. And she was so overwhelmed. ANIEFIOK, I will not lie to you, she outperformed my expectation. Right? She's never had somebody say that to her. She's never had somebody believe that she can. And she never had somebody actually trust her to follow through with it. So sometimes as a leader, you got to take risk, but those risks have to come from you knowing the staff. And because you know the staff, you need to help them with what you know of them. So there's something, I don't know if you've heard say, you have to believe in someone's belief in you until your belief kicks in.
Well, say that again. You have to believe. You have to. But look, hold on again. Hold on. Don't rush now. Don't rush now. I know. I know our time is limited, but I need this to get home. You have to believe.
Right.
Say that. Say that one more time.
Believe. You have to believe in someone's belief in you until your belief kicks in.
Woo. Right.
I'll give you an example.
Somebody should write that down. Somebody should write that down. Yeah, go on.
I'll give you an example. My son, right? I know you got two boys, right? To them, you can do anything. They believe you can beat Incredible Hulk. We all know who Incredible Hulk is, right?
Yeah.
They believe that daddy's probably gonna whack Incredible Hulk, right? Now they believe that in you so much that if Incredible Hulk ever appeared to hurt your children, right, you would fight Incredible Hulk. Not because you believe you can beat Incredible Hulk, but because
you
your children believe, and they believe that you can. So you face Incredible Hulk because of your children's belief in you that you can beat Incredible Hulk. So sometimes we do the tasks that are seemingly impossible because somebody believes in us that we can. And it's in the process of us doing that task, our belief starts to come in. Hang on, I'm actually doing it. I'm actually good at it. And the only reason why I've stood up to do it is because ANIEFIOK believed in me. Do you see what I'm saying? So leaders should understand, once you know your staff, once you identify a trait in your staff, you need to use that trait to empower them. You need to use the trait you found in that individual, not what you found in all the people you hired, just the particular individual. That's why a leader, I tell you one thing, leadership is when you can lift a person's vision to higher heights. You can raise the person's performance to a higher standard because of what you've identified in them that you've put to use for them.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Unfortunately,
Right.
you have organizations that batch teach. You have organizations that say, we've hired 10 people, we're going to treat them the same way. You can't do that and get the A results from them.
Let me just
That's
jump
what I
in
was saying.
quickly.
Yeah,
Let me just
go
jump
on.
in quickly, Michael. I mean, it's so true what you've said. Now, the flip of it is really sad is that you have a lot of people in certain positions that find it so easy to identify the weaknesses and then drill down on those weaknesses to highlight people as being incompetent. Now, that's a
Yeah,
complete opposite of what you projected. But sadly enough, I mean, I've been across private sector and, functioned in different capacities with the public sector. So I've seen this happen many times. People think that, to show that I'm in charge, rather than help you, remember what I said earlier, in a light, a voice, and a bridge, rather than being a light to you or being a voice for you or being a bridge to you, I'll rather identify the
yeah,
things that you're weak in, the things that you lack, and then make the meal of it. And it's really sad. I just wanted to put that out there. We'll probably have this again further in the conversation because it's so important.
right.
But I'm going to let you get back to the rest of the hours now.
The one of the things that I remember my dad, may so rest in peace, what he used to say to me is he used to tell me, be a leader, not a boss, right? You see, the unfortunate thing is some people that are already in position of authority, they don't need to fight for the position they're already in. They're already the either the manager or they're the director or they're already that. Nobody's competing with that. Now you've already hired staff, right? I am the sort of person that if my staff sit on the pavement, like on the road, right? Maybe you have 10 people sit on the road. I was that person that will sit on the road with them, right?
Right.
I do not have a team that I do not engage with at the same level that they're at. Because I give you an example, if a team, say winter time, there was a time back many years ago, I managed a team that had to work in minus 13 degrees.
Mm.
Minus 13. I was managing a face-to-face campaign, and the campaign was to stop members of the public to donate X amount of money to the charity I was working for at the time as a national campaign manager. Now, it was minus 13. One thing I could have done that day is I could have stayed in my office and just go on the phone and speak to the team and say, how are you getting on today? Ask me what I did on the day that it was minus 13. I
You are
was in
right,
my gear and I was there with my team.
right
And
there.
every time they saw me there, I just overheard when one of them was saying, the manager is working with us and it's freezing. And I smiled and I said, I heard what you said. I'm working with you because I'm one of you, right? And that literally changed the performance of the team that day. And why was I with them? I knew it was freezing cold. I knew that they would need hot drinks. Every half hour, I was buying on my company account, I was buying them hot drinks every half hour because I knew it was very cold, but I knew the job had to be done. After the day was over, we outperformed our numbers that day because the public were thinking, why are they out here in the cold? And the public had empathy. And because of the empathy they had, they were responding to us more than they ever did. So on that particular day, we did a number that we've never done before. And why did we
Sure.
do that? Because whilst I was there with them, I gave them breaks to go in the warmth. So I said, right, it's time for you to go in the warmth. By the way, I stayed out. I didn't break my day off and I didn't go in the warmth at all. For each person that remained out on the field, I was with them. And then when they took turns to go in the warmth, I was with the next team that came back out throughout the day. Now, when they spoke to me at the end of the day, they said, no one has ever done that to me before. And no one has ever done that for us before. And I said, you always have to remember one thing. I was right where you are today. And I know exactly what made me stick to the job, because somebody like me did the same thing that I'm doing to you today. Did it for me. Now, leaders have to get off their high seats. They have to get in. They have to get on the field. They have to roll their sleeves and they have to say, let's get this done. If you want to build an A team, they have to believe it's possible in the face of different obstacles. And you're the only one that can infuse that.
Hold on, Michael. So, I mean, if you want to build that kind of team, the kind of team that we're talking about, which is the model for all kinds of teams across the world, they have to believe that it is possible because they see that you believe that it's possible, and you're not just seeing that you believe that it's possible. You're seeing that it's possible forces you or compels you to act the possible. And so, because you act the
Absolutely.
possible and you engage in the possible, they have a model in front of them. People follow models, right?
Absolutely.
People follow models. If you take a bottle and you pour in water into the bottle, the water is the shape of the bottle. The bottle is the model. The bottle itself was cast into a model and it was formed, it was manufactured,
Absolutely.
it took the shape of its
Absolutely.
model. So, therefore, if leaders create a model for how you want your people to think, for how you want your people to work, for how you want your people to deliver results, they'll simply key into that model. That's what you're saying, Michael.
In a sense, because there are exceptions. And the reason why I said the
Yeah.
exceptions is, you see, the model is also going to come back to one thing. There's a flex that leaders need to have. Knowing your
Mm,
stuff. The reason why I said that first, knowing your stuff, is I had some guys. I've managed some 4 or 5 guys over 17 years. I've managed them
mm,
years ago, and I remember them. They were different. And what do I mean by they
right.
were different? You couldn't put them in the model, but they were the top performers
All
because they
right.
knew how to execute the job, but not in the model sort of
Okay.
approach. Remember,
Right.
Richard Branson once said something. Richard Branson said something to do with, if he was hired to work for anyone, he would have been a difficult employee. Some people, they think outside the box. They do things in a different way, completely different way, but they know
Mm,
how to deliver the result. So this comes back. You see, one of the things I've found with organizations, there's no time to know staff. There's no time to know who is who, but you need to try and carve out the time. The
mm,
reason is, I'll tell you why. You see, I had people on the team that, some people were there because they wanted to grow and develop in the industry and move to different positions of authority. Some people wanted to earn a lot of money and move on, and they never wanted authority. They never wanted leadership. I know a guy
mm,
that earned 5 times the amount other people were earning, but he never went to any position of leadership. He said, I just want to look after myself and my pocket.
mm, mm,
He said, I just want to look after myself and my pocket. I don't want to have to take responsibility for anyone. And he knew that from day one, that this is how I want to be. So every time leadership positions came up, I never went to him. Why? Because he never
Because
wanted it.
he wasn't a man for the job.
He didn't want it. He knew his job and he just wanted to earn, make 5 times the amount the others were making, and go home. That's it. Now, if I give somebody that like that a position of leadership, I'm not doing him justice, because why? It won't give me the best output that I require for the project, because he doesn't
Mm,
want it. You see, unfortunately, in many organizations, there's no time to know staff. There's no time to say, right, let me know what makes ANIEFIOK tick. Let me know what makes John tick. Let me know what makes this person. There's no time. But you need to look for how to make that time. Like from someone, so I'll give you an example with most
yeah.
organizations now. If you have a vision, how many organizations now, ANIEFIOK, shares the vision with the lowest member of the team? Would you share a vision with the gate man of the organization?
Okay, so good question, fantastic question, and I'll tell you, I might just be an exception to the generality, and I think I'm not so much of an exception now because you have a lot of people are thinking at certain levels.
Yeah.
Now, for me, this is the way I see it. It's almost impossible. Remember what you said about knowing your why? It's almost
Mm.
impossible for that gig man to know what is required of him if he doesn't understand why we are all here in the first place. So there's a why he's here, and then there's a why we are all here. Now, if he knows why he's here, which is personal to him, but he brings it to the table, oh, he's here for
Mm.
money, he's here for a career boost, he's here for this, but doesn't understand why we're all corporately here, he will
Yeah.
not ever be able to translate to fit in or align his why to our why. So for me, it's so important, even to, I mean, if there's anybody else beyond the guy at the gate, you have to have at your level of understanding, beyond the plaque on the wall that says this is our mission statement, beyond a statement
Right.
on a website that you probably will not even visit, there has to be something that, inculcates a culture into you that carries the vision. So that is something that I've always practiced in every area and every space, all right, that I've had jurisdiction or some level of supervision or some level of authority in, to say that, look, it's so important. Many times, right, I say to people, "Oh, before you jump out again to this project and start getting these things out, let's even just sit down, have this kind of retreat." I do believe, Michael, that if we are able to have syndicate group discussions, and we leave with an understanding, then the mission, if we understand the vision, then the mission, you will be able to deploy the mission in a way that best suits you without necessarily having the guy at the top or me coming down to say, no, this is how it should be done. Understanding the why helps them to be able to strategically and creatively develop their own how. Do you understand? So once they understand the why, they find their own they bring their best to the table to deliver the how. So now that's how it is for me. I understand, Michael, that it's not the same for a lot of people. I mean, you walk into organizations, you see what the front desk person does, you see what the reception does, you see what the first points of engagement or interaction or wherever it
You
is
you know
does. And you wonder
yeah.
if this person has been part of this
You
organization, or how
you
long have
know
you been here?
you took the word right out of my mouth, because one of the things I wanted to actually talk about, kind of ties into what you've just mentioned now. And that is,
Right.
when you walk into an organization. Now, the thing is, there's a notion that because I sit in the high seat, that my role is more important than yours. That's not true. I don't agree with that. Every
Same
role is
here.
important. Right. If the gate man refuses to open the gate and let the cars in, then you will know how important it is. If the doorman doesn't open the door to the building to let the people in, you will know
If the
how
janitor
important it is
doesn't
to.
work, if the janitor doesn't
If they
work, you
don't
know just
clean,
how.
yep.
If they don't clean, you know just
Even the
how.
person, even the person cleaning the person cleaning the lavatories, if they don't clean it, or if they don't keep it in a nice state, then you will know how important it is. Now, the
Mm,
problem is people look down at the level below as you're not as important as the level above. That's not right. Every
mm,
position that anybody holds should be celebrated and should be put on a pedestal of importance. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, I'll tell you something, right? People will say, oh, go to Aniekon's office. His office has a nice sofa. His office has a nice computer and stuff like that. Does the gate man have any cut-out place in his room or in his little gate office? Gate office. So he's a gate man. Does he have a gate office? Does he have a
mm,
place where he can go back and sit down and type in how many cars is allowed in today, how long the
mm,
longest car stayed there for, and feel a sense of importance towards the vision of the organization?
mm,
Now, the issue is when you're not making each position important, then they're always going to see themselves as, oh, Oga is here now, or see that Oga, because their position has not in any way been acknowledged and recognized.
so that.
Nobody is the little man. Look, my dad, I always say my dad because he was full of wisdom. He said, always be careful what the foot soldiers are talking about and what they're doing. He said, the men at the bottom, they're the foot soldiers. If they don't
Yeah.
work, nothing works. Trust me.
If they don't work, nothing works.
Nothing works because I tell you one thing, right? They may be unimportant to you because you're in the top seat, but God help you if they decide not to do their part.
Mm.
If they decide not to do their part, the organization is going to feel the brunt of it. Simple as that. Now, so if you want to have the A team or the A performance, you've got to share the vision, right, with everybody at different layers. I don't care if you have to get to the janitor level. And I like what you said. I love what you said. You're the sort of person that you need to know why they are there and why we are here. I love that. That just succinctly puts everything. Everybody at their different levels must understand the vision. They must understand this is why this organization exists, and you are an integral part of it. Because if that gate man is going to open the gate the next time, he's going to open it with so much, what's that word? Pride. That
Yeah.
I'm the gate man of Michael and Sons Limited. Because of how he's been, the vision. I mean, he's been brought into a board meeting. Do they bring gate men into meetings? I'm using that because that's the way we look at them. Oh, I just hired a driver. I just hired a gate. Are they part of the meetings too? Or is there a meeting for them? Now, if you want the A game, you got to understand this. The A game or the A results happens because a member of the organization who is at the lowest level is made to feel as part of the important element within that organization. If the people at the bottom, look at the house, for instance, you can look at the nice, columns and the nice verandas and the nice majestic roofing and all that. But what is the
Yeah.
first thing you set in that building? Is the foundation.
True that.
These are the foot soldiers. Those are the ones at the bottom. If there's no foundation, how can you have a company? So why is it that the person at the lower level is not being recognized in the way they should? We're all human beings. There's an element of I tell you what, there's an element of recognition that everybody desires and craves for. Oh, guess what? Oh, Mr. Abu, you're driving out of the car. Mr. Abu, I just wanted to say yesterday, great job, man. We had a lot of visitors in the organization, and I heard that the gate was open promptly. Great job. And then you just acknowledge him. Like, do you think he's going to go home a different man that day? Or do you think he's going to go
Absolutely.
home like it's going to feel special? The whole
Absolutely.
CEO told me I did a great job. How amazing is that? So if you want the A game, you got to look at one, knowing your staff. You got to have delegation of responsibility, something that the staff member thinks, why should he ever call me? I'm the least person here. The reason why you've
Mm.
called them is because if you don't help them to use the skill that you've identified they have, no one will help them use it. You as a leader have a responsibility to help them use a skill you've identified, nurture that skill with them or for them, and let them feel on top, let them feel super amazing. That's the word I can say.
Yeah, I
Because
like
what I've
that. I
seen
mean,
over time,
mm.
what I've seen over
Mhm. Go
time
ahead.
is people disregarding people that are lower level, and that really sickens me. Which is something I've seen in many industries I've been in. It sickens me to the core because these people can destroy your business in one day. They
You
absolutely
know,
can, believe you or
you know
not.
that gets me thinking. That gets me thinking, Michael. About how more organizations, right? And I'll say I'll be bold enough to say a lot of organizations in Africa, in Nigeria, need to have policies that speak to all cadres of staff, right? So we have policies for how we manage our finances. We have
Yeah,
policies for how we, run our systems and our operations. We have policies for all sorts of things. But these policies are not even designed to be all inclusive. A lot of organizations don't have policies. And trust me, I've consulted across a wide array of organizations. The banking sector, NGOs, development sector. I know I sit here to tell you what I know. A lot of organizations don't have ODs, organizational development policies, ODPs, that speak to all cadres. It's as if these full soldiers that we're talking about, they're just hanging there. They're just lost. You just have people and you say to them, okay, you know what, just go out there and run streets and generate, leads and all of that. Okay, this is the stipend for you to, and then it just ends there. You know what? Wait, if you don't generate, don't come back. If you generate, go, and you just keep wondering why people show up, have faces, their hearts are not in what they do, and it's not because they can't put their heart in it. It's just because the system has not been designed to allow them to engage them enough to bring their heart to work. A lot of organizations, and I'm telling you this, Michael, a lot of organizations have structures that eliminate the very people that they should have at the heart of those structures, which is what we're talking
I
about
tell you,
today.
I tell you what it is, right? You can, when you look at organizations, they also have, just to be fair to them, the economy of the government they're in, the economy of the country they're in, is a strong determinant of, what they can or can't do as well. Now, if you look at a man going to work, right, a man that is not acknowledged, a man that is not recognized, a man that is not rewarded, if you look at that man going to work every day, why do you think he's going to work? He doesn't have alternatives as to how he's going to look after his family. Now, if he doesn't go to that job he doesn't like, how does he get paid? If a system is there where he gets some form of government support or state benefits that would
Mm.
allow him to increase his value by going to study what he wants to do and then get a job in that field, then you will not see him in that company again. But because it doesn't
Yeah,
have
I,
that
I,
option,
I agree with you, Michael. Sorry, Michael, let me just jump in
yeah,
quickly, right? I agree with what you're saying. But what I'm saying is, even if he had no option, he will do more for you if you created an enabling environment for him to do more. He will perform more. The company will do better.
absolutely,
So even if he
absolutely,
had no options, don't you want the company to do better? So we're seeing that, look, there are things that people need to pay attention to, right? Because you've either run your organization or you've been part of an organization where you've seen some of those things. I say to people all the time that in every situation, you learn either of two things. You either learn what to do or you learn what not to do. So, as an employee, you've learned some things, how to do some things, and what to do with some things. And you've also learned some things that, this is not to do. And so
yeah,
when you're in
yeah.
a position where you have a system and you are a critical part of building or shaping that system, then certain things have to be taking place. I mean, wouldn't it be nice if more people had policy mindsets? Wouldn't it be nice of all the things that we've said so far, right? Wouldn't it be great
Yeah.
if people, were more? How many of these things that you have said today require a massive budget? No, tell me, Michael. All the things we've
No,
said
no,
today, how much of it requires a
they're very
massive
simple.
budget?
No, they don't require massive budgets. I think it's got to do with a mindset shift for the leaders. You see, we can't
Hmm.
keep looking at the guy at the bottom level. You have to ask yourself, what is in it for the leader, for the system to function well, or the system to be dysfunctional? Right? You have to
Hmm.
ask yourself, what is in it for the leader? Because what is in it for the leader will determine what system the leader creates within the company.
True
Right. So
that.
I know for certain that in chaos, people make money, right? In chaos, people make money. So that's why that problem would not be fixed for X amount of years, because it's in that problem remaining a problem that money is brought into the organization. Now,
True that.
so if the leader's motives are not to improve the organization's status or the reputation of the organization, but to enrich his pockets, then you will not build a system that is accountable.
Hmm.
Because you've got to remember this. If I want to keep hemorrhaging funds, I need to keep the system dysfunctional. Simple as that. I cannot put anything right in place. We can look at Nigeria as an example. If anything was to be put right and things were to function properly, a lot of people will not be making money anymore.
Or the kind
And
of
that's
money that
the
they're making.
or the kind of money they're making. So that's the reason why the dysfunction is the enrichment of some people's pockets. So that's why the system that will correct that dysfunction is never put into force. because of their own motives. So we need to go back to the motives of the leaders. We need to go back to the motive of the company. We need to go, say, for instance, a company that is taking dodgy deals or dodgy contracts to enrich
Right.
itself, right? And then you hire someone like you, ANIEFIOK, who identifies with the with the ethics of that company to be warped. You've
Oh, there we
identified with
go.
it, and you now want to correct it. Do you think you stand a chance? You
Not at
don't
all.
stand a chance because of the
Not
motives
at
of the
all.
leadership. That's because of the motives of the leadership. So the A results that a team wants, we first need to identify what is the motive that the company itself and the people running it and the leadership within that company, what do they really want? Because there's a lot of people at the bottom level that are qualified to give you the results you want. But that result is just it's what do you call it now? It's delusional to one result when the system for those results to be made ready or available is not in place.
True
If,
that.
say, for instance, you want me to come and do accounting and you haven't given me the tools like Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel or all the Microsoft tools, you want me to do accounting for your organization and you don't give me the tools for it. How am I going to be an effective accountant?
How you gonna achieve the results?
Absolutely. So you can't always blame the people at the bottom level that are not giving the A results because there's a part that the organization needs to play. I'll give you an example, something as simple as what does your work environment look like? Some people are still stuck in the olden day, come to the office, knock the door before you can see ANIEFIOK is the CEO. So knock the door or talk to the secretary. Over here, most offices is open management system. You're sitting next to the CEO in an open area and you don't even know he's the CEO of the damn company. Why? Because it feels like it's part of the organization and they're here to all do business. And you can talk to him and say, hey, how you doing, mate? You all right? And tell you you're right. And you're chatting to the CEO and the directors and they're just sitting next to you all over. And guess what? When you go into the lobby of the organization, they have tea, they have coffee, they have sofas, they have nice fluffy sofas that if you want to take a break or have a chill, you go and relax. Not that you come into a business where everything is so regimented. You know, there's no opportunity for creativity. There's no opportunity for relaxation. How can you be at your top performance when you feel that as soon as you step into the doors of the office, you're in a boot camp? I mean, how can creativity flow?
That stifles creativity, right? That stifles
Yeah,
creativity because I mean you come into an environment that doesn't even allow you to first of all be relaxed, first of all be in a state to learn, and it is when you're in a state to learn that you think, and when you're able to come up with solutions to problems in a way that you are wired to deliver, and that's what a lot of people
absolutely.
don't understand. A lot of people understand. But you know what, Michael? I know that we're pressed for time, and there's so much that I need us to be able to push in today.
Right.
I'm gonna
Now
press the
just
button
carry
and
on, man.
and
Just carry
fast
on. It's,
forward.
yeah,
Yeah, but yeah. But I'm gonna fast forward to something I really want you to touch on. We have a phone call yesterday. We had
right.
an amazing conversation last night, and there
Yeah,
was something that
yeah,
you spoke about: attitude, right? Attitude. I mean, this is now
yeah.
about individual performance. So there's the corporate
Right.
performance, as everybody bringing their hearts to the table. There's now the individual attitude and the perspective of what it means to be part of the team. And you talked about what
Absolutely.
happens on the days you have amazing results and on the days you have not so amazing results. I want you to tell me a bit about that, or tell everyone a bit about that.
I believe that every single day we have the opportunity to either be victims of events or victors of events. You know, things are going to happen. You can either end up that day being a victim of that event, or you can end up being a victor over that event. Right. So, in terms of attitude, there's a saying that I always live by. A lot of us hear sayings all the time, but we don't actually put into practice. It says your attitude determines your altitude and not your aptitude.
Mm,
Aptitude meaning it's not what you know that determines
mm,
your altitude, how far or how high you go in life, is your attitude. You see what I mean? So most of the time, people don't realize that there's something that you get in return for an attitude of complaining and murmuring. There's something you get. There's always a reward for complaining, and there's always a reward for murmuring. Now, if you on a good day are thankful because you had a good day, but then on a bad day, you have an attitude because you didn't get the results. For me,
Mm.
that is inconsistency that will deliver a no result outcome simply because you don't have a attitude of gratitude. Like I told you yesterday, I drove a long way out to meet someone, to have business with them. And when I got there, the person said, "Oh, sorry, I completely didn't remember, blah, blah, blah. I've got to go out." I've driven a long way. Now I have two choices now. I can spend the rest of my evening being very unhappy that I didn't get to sit 10 minutes to get into the house, 2 hours out. The person said, "Sorry, I had to go out. There was an emergency." I can spend my whole evening, just being moody and complaining about what's happened. I can look for the good part in that and say, I just said to the lady, I said, "Oh, thanks very much. I will reschedule the meeting." Was I feeling a bit hurt that I didn't meet her? Absolutely. But what's that gonna do to the meeting anyway? Is it gonna give me the meeting if I decide to sulk over it? If I decide to hate the people I love? Because if you carry that attitude from that drive back home, you're gonna lash out on your wife, you're gonna lash out on your children. It's just as simple as that. So for me, the attitude in any business, whether you're a team leader or whether you're a team member or whether you're a team manager, your attitude, there's a saying, Annie, he said, "Your attitude stinks. I can barely hear what you're saying."
Yeah.
You see, if your attitude stinks, nobody wants to listen to you. I don't care how good looking you are.
Mm.
Attitude is a key element in success. It's how you see the event. He said, we can't control the externals, but we can control how we respond to it. We
True
can't
that.
control what's going to happen around us. You can come out of your house now, and then the wind is blowing, and then there's torrential rain and stuff like that. You can decide to remember that there are parts of the world where there's no water, and they're thankful right now that it's raining. Or you can complain and say, "Oh, why is it raining again? I can't do this, I can't do that." So I think people don't realize that so when you sow continuous bad attitude, what do you think you're going to reap? You say, "My business is not doing well." Why do you think your business is not doing well? You have stinking attitude. You have stinking attitude to everything in life. I don't need to tell you why your business isn't working. Your attitude stinks. Nobody wants to work around people with bad attitude. People with bad attitude do not attract customers.
Yeah, yeah, Michael. But there's something I needed to also highlight. Well, even before you start talking about customers, the internal customers, your colleagues. So yesterday you were telling me
Mm,
about how those in your downlines and those working with you, they're watching you, and
yeah,
it's a bad day. He's still good. It's a good day. He's still good.
yeah.
So
So
they
what happens?
learn
Yeah.
to be good, right? Go ahead. Go ahead.
So
Figure out.
So what happens with that is, I tell you something, right? A leader sometimes always feel compelled that I need to deliver results just to be able to prove that this works. So say for instance, you've given the team a briefing on something they've got to do, and you feel
Yeah.
compelled that I need to show them the results. Sometimes it's not the results you're teaching them. Sometimes it's the consistency in your attitude throughout the day. So, say for instance, yeah, say for instance, Annie, you said to somebody, "Go and pluck 10 fruits from the tree." It's easy. Just get a long stick and pluck 10 fruits, right? And then the members of the team go out with long sticks and they're trying to pluck the fruit, and no fruit is dropping. And then you say, "Out of the way, guys, out of the way." And then you take a long stick, right? And then you start trying to pluck the 10 fruits, and no fruit is dropping. It's not the fruits dropping you're teaching them. It's the attitude that even if the fruit doesn't drop, I'm still smiling doing it. And I started
Mm.
smiling at 10 o'clock in the morning, and 6 p.m. in the evening, I'm still smiling, trying to get the fruit down. And not one fruit is dropped, but my attitude is the same. Now, that's what I've taught them for that day. Not the fact that I could get the fruits to drop. That wasn't the important lesson. The important lesson is, despite the results, good or bad, your attitude is constant.
Mm.
And that's what some people will take away from what you've taught them that day. So a leader should never feel compelled that I need to deliver the goods so that I can show my team that I know how to do it. Don't feel compelled. Just let them see that in your bid to try to get the results, your attitude is, I'll tell you one thing, remember this and write this down. Sometimes, or in most cases, you cannot determine the outcome, but you can determine the efforts you put into it and leave the efforts to determine the results.
Say that one
So
more time.
I'll say that again. I'll say that again. Sometimes you cannot determine the outcome, but you can determine how much effort you put into it and leave the efforts to determine the outcome. Because a lot of the times people say, I don't know, Annie, how much sales are you going to make today? I don't know if I'm going to make 100,000, but I know the efforts that would make 100,000 is what I'm going to give today. And if you give the efforts that make 100,000, you might end up with 200,000. Because we can determine the efforts.
If you give the effort
that'll deliver
yield
the
or deliver
outcome.
100,000, you stand the chance of making 200.
Absolutely. Because the effort is all you can look. Annie, you can't tell me if it's going to be a good day or a bad day, but you can tell me if you're going to work hard or not.
I can't tell you if it's going to be a good day or a bad day, but I can tell you if I'm going to work hard or not. Michael, you are absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
All I need to say to you is, Annie,
I can hope it's going to be a good day. I can wish it's going to be a good day. I can pray that it will be a good day. Certainly stepping into it with my to give it all. If it's not a good day, it wasn't because I didn't show up trying.
Les Brown used to say something. You said, if all you can do is all you can do, make sure you do all you can do. Do you know what I
I
mean?
like that.
So for
I like
me,
that. I
he
like
said,
that
if
one.
all you
Man,
can do,
tonight is for serious punchlines, man. Serious punchlines.
if all you
If
can
all
do is if all you can do is all you can do, make sure you do all you can do. That's all it is. You see, so I can't tell you, Annie, at the end of today, would you make 100,000 naira or 500,000 naira? You say, Michael, I'm not sure how much I make, but I'm definitely going to give you my 150% as always. That is the known. That's the known fact. You know you're gonna work hard. There's no two-way to that. If an employee cannot tell you if they're gonna work hard or not, then maybe they're not in the right job.
true
And if
that.
the effort
True.
is right, then the results will be right. Period. That's how I see it. Results come from effort. Every individual you hire, they have the results within. As a leader, it's yours to get it out of them. Everybody has the ability to perform. No one is created useless. No one. God didn't create anyone useless. Do you know what I mean? So it's now as a leader to bring that which is in that person out. The question is, are you a coach? Are you a boss? Do you want to coach that person to help them get those things out? I've seen people that didn't perform in the first 2 months of joining the organization that I was leading teams there. And then when they started performing in their third month, they were unstoppable. But I could have fired them. I could have fired them in the fourth week or in the eighth week. But no, because I knew there was something there. It's just to nurture that thing. Leaders have a responsibility, serious responsibility. And that's one
You
thing
know,
that people organize. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
yeah. Michael, I was extremely deliberate, right, when I was putting this together to leave the word leadership out of
Yeah.
the tag for this episode. But I knew that there was absolutely no way we could talk about activating a team or be running a team or being part of a team without referring consistently to the power of leadership.
Leadership. Yeah.
Now, let me just say a few
Absolutely.
things before you go on, right? Now, you said something at the very beginning, and if for those of you viewing, if you are not here when we started, you need to watch this replay after we go, when we go off, because today's episode has been nothing short of phenomenal. Big shouts out to Madam Barola Big shout out to ABO Free and everybody that is on this platform right now watching. All right, massive shout out to you. You both need to actually be in on this conversation right now. But hear me. Now, there was something you said at the very beginning. You spoke about how you have to know your staff, and knowing your staff means that you have to be able to identify what ticks about them, taking their why and finding giving expression to it so it fits into our why. Now, why is this very important? Because the more that we're able to align people with their natural area of creativity and giftedness, the more their weakness become irrelevant.
Absolutely.
Who will ask a Lionel Messi if he can ride a horse? How relevant is it that Lionel Messi can ride a horse? Who will ask a Ronaldo if he can play table tennis? So even if he was the worst table tennis player, how important is that in the scheme of things? He's a fantastic soccer player. He's in his area of element. And so if we are able to get team members and team players to their area of element, to their area of exponential growth, their area of not even the area of exponential growth, because the result is exponential growth, but to their area of habitat, natural habitat, then even their seeming weaknesses become irrelevant. The closer you are to purpose, the more irrelevant your weaknesses become. The further
Absolutely.
you are away from your area of strength and natural inclination, the more glaring your weaknesses become. I heard something today. Nobody brings fish out of water and then the fish says, "Thank you for saving me." Nobody.
Absolutely. That was powerful. Yeah, I like that. I like that because the
Nobody.
fish. I mean, you can't save a fish by taking it out of its natural habitat, can you? Do you know what I mean?
So
Yeah,
if we understand the why and we're able to now find somewhere in within the system that allows them to play in the wing they should play on the field, then we'll have a great game. But if we
absolutely,
take the
absolutely.
attacker and we leave him to say, man the goalpost, then we're going to have a colossal loss, a terrible loss, because he's not gifted to man the goalpost. And I just
That's
need
why
to
you
throw
see
that
that.
in
Yeah,
because that
yeah,
resonated with me strongly. Go ahead, Michael.
absolutely. I think there's a question from Beauty. Uh, I don't know if you've caught it on your end there. It
Yeah,
says
yeah,
something about
seen it. I'm gonna put it up. So let's just deal with that quickly. I'm putting that up right now. Okay, so
right. So,
Beauty says, and I'm jumping to Beauty question right now. What if the person you are coaching or you're managing is not learnable, quote and unquote, not always full of excuses? What should you do? Michael, just take that quickly before we go on.
so for me, Beauty, just to first of all say, like, if somebody's not catching up is one thing that you can think of addressing, with patience. But if somebody's full of excuses, I can't deal with excuses. I can't stomach them. You see, excuses, there's a definition for it. That's always guided how I treat or manage my team. Excuses are the nails that you use to build a house of failure, right? So when you have excuses, you're just constantly knocking in nails into a house of failure. That individual, unfortunately, you have to put that individual through a performance management. The individual has to understand the clear goals, and if they don't meet those clear goals, what is not measured cannot be managed. It
Mm.
can it can, it has to move from just talking about it to managing it. Now, if the individual is full of excuses, already that individual is not ready for change. It's different if that individual is not catching up and you're taking time to bring them up to speed. But if they're coming up with excuses all the time, I'm sorry, before you become them, you need to do something about it. Because somebody
Before
who is constantly,
you become them.
yeah, because if somebody keeps giving you excuses, they're not ready for the change you're trying to give to them. They're not ready for the drive, the support, the encourage. They're not ready. Because if imagine Anieko said, Michael, can you come on to the Annie, man? I don't know, I'm not sure, but if I give him excuses like 3 times, he's not gonna have me on the show. he's going to have somebody else, because in his mind he's thinking, this dude is not ready, man. So don't put the energy into one person when you can give it to 3 other people on your team. So have a way to manage that performance. And, I don't want to call it a spade, but you got to deal with it. Manage the performance. If it's not up to beat, then you need, that's the door. I'm sorry.
Michael, this resonates with something that you said earlier. And Michael, I am looking at the clock, and I know that you have to jump off
Nah,
soon. But just let me
yeah,
know. You
I've
know,
already
just let me know when you're good
quarter
to go. All
past. I
right,
put
like in the
quarter
evening.
past. Yeah, quarter past. I'm
All right,
still good. Yeah.
awesome. So your response just for something you said earlier. One of the hours that you were on responsibility, and I always say that look,
Recognition. Yeah, yeah,
responsibility is a coinage of 2 words: ability and response. Your ability to
yeah.
respond. And so the question is, does the person possess the ability, right? Which now speaks to competence, speaks to capacity and competence. So you can either have the two types of problems you have in any team. You can have people problems, you can have system problems. And so first thing you first do is check that the system is providing all kinds of support to the person. So yes, you are managing the person, you are leaving the person is coming up with excuses, and you need to ask yourself, just like Michael said, does the system even encourage excuses to come with me? Because it's two sides of the coin. If there's an excuse giver, there's an excuse taker. All right.
Absolutely,
If there's an excuse
absolutely. I
giver,
like that.
there's an excuse taker. So you really don't want to become an excuse taker. So you want to check that the system, first of all, has at least something that can support it. Two, you have to look at competence level, 2 levels, threshold, differentiated, and you have to look at the capacity in between. Now, if the person still, after you've done what you ought to do, cannot pull their weight, you have to be able to, number one, look at where you think, and the person's competence does not have anything that will deliver value to your organization. You actually be doing the person a favor by either tell the person, and you know me, I don't have to even call it. I will say it the way it is. You tell the person, "Good night, have a great day." You're actually releasing them to find where they can. Look, it is so important that people are engaged in the things that they come to with their best. So whilst you're
Absolutely,
struggling with someone who doesn't even have what it takes where you are keeping the person away from where they could have been thriving. So as a team member, as a team lead, you also have a. That's why I tell people that I lead everything that I do. I'm called to be a light, a voice in the bridge. So beyond the scope of our operations, I should be able to look at you and be able to tell you what direction you ought to go. It doesn't have to
abs-
be with
abs-
me. Don't
absolutely. You just hit
nobody.
the nail on the head, Annie.
It doesn't exactly. It doesn't have to be with me. So the truth of the matter is, look, there are guys that have we've worked together. They were not so great, not doing so well, not high performers. Because you know what, for one reason or the other, this is the system we had. We could not alter it in the short term. We had it in our strategic document to do it in about 5 years. So time was against us. In everything, there's always the scope, there's always the cost, and then there's always the time. So time was against us, right? And he left and went to do well somewhere else. So don't, for the sake of flogging a dead horse, you keep dragging people and you keep pouring your heart into people. Check that the system provides enough support. And if the system does not provide enough support, right, check that you are providing enough support and the person has enough capacity to be able to learn. And if those two are absent, you have no business. It may not be that they are bad, it's just that you have no business working together on that project that you're working on. That's my
Annie,
take.
Annie, but there's a flip side again to that, though. You see, somebody coming
Yeah.
up with excuses for me. I tell you, all my life, even if I didn't know anything or how to do something, it's not going to be an excuse. It's going to be a question to learn, right?
Mm,
The
mm,
question to learn is what I'll come up with. Okay, I'm not really conversant with that. Can you show me how? Right. If
mm,
excuses are coming from an individual, one thing that I worked in an industry for 10 years that I need to judge whether somebody was ideal for the role within 2 weeks. 2 weeks. It was fast paced. And within 2 weeks, I needed to keep you or I needed to get rid of you. It was as simple as
mm,
that. Now, so for me, I think that one of the key things is you have to recognize that you can't give someone desire I know, Anieko, you talked about systems in place and you talked about whether you are also given the necessary support. But for the individual themselves, what is driving them? You see, I've worked in places. I remember when I left one job, somebody had contacted me on LinkedIn and said, "Can you come and work for me in my company?" Now, I left an international organization that had a massive story building as their office, right? And the guy told me, "Yeah, I'm gonna pay you X amount." So I left this company and I went to join his company. Guess where the first training was held? In that company I went to join when I left the job with a big company. One small,
Yeah.
tiny room.
Okay.
One small room. And when I went into that small room, I said, "Michael, have you made the biggest mistake of your life? You left this big organization and you went to this company here." Well, guess what? The reason I'm talking about desire and the reason why I'm talking about what is in the individual is important is what I saw was, now this is a challenge. I'm going to change this. That's what came to my mind. Like, I need to change. So when the director sat with me, who was the guy that headhunted me, he said, "I'm really sorry. We just have a growing outfit. But from your experience, I know that we can do something with this." And so on and so forth. So I said to him, imagine if I said to him, "Oh, I don't think I can." You see, excuses just stink. I'm sorry. I have zero tolerance for it. It just shows me that you're not ready. You're not prepared to do what we require of you. And you can't change
Mm.
that for the individual. They're the ones that would have to change that approach for themselves. Even in the face of not having a big office, all I started to see was how much stuff I needed to hire within the first quarter, how much
Yeah.
acquisition we need to get within the second quarter of the year, and drawing up a vision for it in a small room. So if somebody's giving
In a
excuses,
small
I'm
room.
sorry. Sorry, I don't think you can't give anybody desire. Sorry, you can't. You're gonna
I
waste your
agree
time with
with
that
you.
person.
I
You
agree
know,
with you absolutely, Michael. And that also ties into what you again said earlier. Know the why. The why. And the
yeah.
why is a reflection of your desire. Why are you here? Why are you doing
Absolutely.
what you're doing?
Absolutely.
And
Yes, sir.
for me it's very interesting because one part of the conversation is this, that okay, so well structured organizations now. Another thing is volunteer groups, right? And I'm so glad to see Obina Ejiogu here. He will understand perfectly what I'm talking about. You have teams set up, say in church, in communities, and all of that. These are volunteer groups. You're trying to get people to, you know, get into sing, to deliver, to follow the vision. These things still reflect even in non-profit volunteering teams. You still see people that will tell you that, hey, I want to be here, but are just not showing enough, or bringing enough to the table to be there. And you're wondering, really, how do we do this? How do we manage situations like this? What kind of training do we need to give? What kind of team building support do we need to give? What kind of incentives do you need to give? And it still boils down to what you said earlier. Why are you here? Because for me, Michael, I believe very strongly that, look, when you understand your why, I said it earlier, when you understand why, then you will creatively find a way to the how. You will find your way to the
Absolutely.
how.
Absolutely.
And when you find your way to the how, you deliver in the best way that you can deliver. In the best
Absolutely. I think,
way.
Onyekon, what we're dealing with here is we're competing with a belief system that one day I'm going to be successful. There's a belief system that many people have that, look,
Mm,
like what Beauty was asking for earlier on, the person with the
yeah,
excuses, there's a subconscious belief that person has that I don't need this job. I don't need this opportunity to become successful. One day I'll be successful. You see, people don't want to create the future that they want. They believe that,
mm,
look, I don't have to do that. I don't have to do this for me to be rich or wealthy or successful. They just believe that it's going to fall on their lap. And that is because we're dealing with a social media age that is actually causing people to think that they're going to come into some surprise wealth. Now, a lot of people now, you see, they have this belief system that I'm praying that one day is delusional for you to want results from efforts you haven't put into anything. It's
it's
delusional.
madness. Actually. Madness.
I'm absolutely,
Madness.
bro. It's like abracadabra. The rice should be cooked, even though there's beans in the pot. That's not going to happen. Beans is not going to turn to rice. Do you know what I mean? And unfortunately, that is the generation we're dealing with now. The generation that is saying, I want results, but I'm not ready to put in the work. So that person you're trying to help to get the results that will benefit them, that is giving you excuses, is not ready to make a change in their own financial status. It's not just about what they bring. It's as simple as that.
True that. And I'll give you a real life example, right? Again, I'm super happy that Obina Ejiogu is here. Obina, big shout out to you out there in the UK. And so Obina and I were part of. Sorry, hold on. Let me deal with someone right now. Okay, great. Obina and I were part of team, right, of a department in church, protocol, and it was a really huge team, and a team that had all sorts of people with different mindsets, different trappings, different social status, different people from different backgrounds and all of that. But we all had one vision, and so there was a need to be able to bring everybody together, to be able to infuse, be a light to them, be a voice to them, be a bridge to them, so we'll all achieve that which we about. Now, the way the structure went at a particular time, Obina was on top, and then there were things that I was overseeing, and I needed to, give him a report. So to some certain extent, I was the link between him and some certain groups of people. Now, because Obina will not take, I mean, he's here, so he can corroborate what I'm saying, or he can say, no, hey, you know how it happened. But I'm telling you, because Obina will not take excuses from me, I could not take excuses from anyone. So I could not take
Absolutely.
excuses from people and then go to him and say, well, Obina, because he will not, talking about setting a culture, because he will not take excuses from me, it became impossible for me not to take excuses. In the same way, it began to trickle down. So those that were now taking reports from other people also could not take excuses from them. And that's really
Absolutely.
comment right there. And I find it interesting. That's
Absolutely.
the comment right there. Excuses stink. Big takeaway. All right. I see that. I see
Absolutely.
that.
I like the way that's distilled down. I think that's amazing. Another question: if people that crave to join your team, you let them in at the end, you find out they're not working, how will you manage them? One of the things, beauty, I would say, is you have to have systems that doesn't allow you to run back and forth trying to get people to really work at their best performance levels. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? You have to have a system that just literally identifies. I always work meticulously when it comes to performance management. You see, like Peter Drucker said, he said, what is not being measured cannot be managed. You see, you
Hmm.
cannot be pushing people that craved to join your team. Let's look at those words again. They craved to join your team, and now they've forgotten their why. That means they pretended that they wanted to really join this team. A why is something that you sleep on, you wake with, and you go through your day thinking about. Let me repeat that. A why is something you sleep with, wake with, and go through your day thinking about. Right? My why is to make sure that my children and my wife and my family, they have a decent standard of life, and that everybody that I come in contact with, I'm a catalyst for change in their lives. Now, when I wake up every day, that is face on, is right there in my, if I'm tired, I'm still going. You know what I mean? Because I know why I'm doing it. So you cannot tell somebody who craved to join your team, you cannot try to help them remember their why. They never had one, and they're not going to find one with your help. You don't give people their whys. People have their own whys, and then you help them with their whys, you help them to navigate the course. That's what you do with people's whys. So if somebody craves to join your team and they're not performing, and you have a system that actually shows that you're doing less of what you could have been doing if they were not part of your team, don't be afraid to cut ties, Beauty. Don't be afraid to cut ties. We're no longer you don't have the time. You cannot afford to look. I tell you what, it's easier to pull somebody down from the fence than for you to pull somebody up. So somebody who is already doing well on top, if he has a lot of people at the bottom not doing well, eventually they're going to drag that person from the top down, because that person is not strong enough to pull everybody to the top of the fence. So eventually, too many
Absolutely.
people that are underperforming will soon bring a low performance culture to your team, because now you're measuring the performance level by those people's performance levels.
Here's the thing, Michael. And I find this very instructive. This just dropped as you were speaking. And this is the beauty, and to everybody out there. Let your own why be so strong enough that when people's whys don't align with yours, you understand that there can be stakeholders to what you're doing. And many
Yeah,
times I've defined the stakeholders. The stakeholder is anybody or anything that can affect or is affected by what you do. Don't let anybody's why take away from your why. Otherwise, it means that your why was never strong enough in the first place. So when you
and people are
understand that,
testing the waters as well. Yeah,
people will
go
test
on, Annie.
the waters. So when you
Yeah,
understand that, you will invest in ensuring that you have processes in place. It's to protect your why.
absolutely,
You will ensure that your recruitment seasons and gets the right kind of people that you want to protect your why. You will put policies in place that will provide support and provide enablement for people to deliver on their assignments because you want to protect your why. The things that you do, your key activities and your overarching activities, all right, your visioning and your key activities we represent your day to day are all because you want to protect your why. Your why is so important. Your
absolutely.
why is that important. Your why is that important. So when you're still dilly dally with, oh, this guy doesn't understand this why, he doesn't understand where it fits in and all. Remember, go back and look at that vision that you have and say, will this take me there? And if it does not, after all said and done, and there's a whole lot embedded in it, but after all said and done, please do not hesitate. Again, like I said, you're not doing them a disservice by disengaging them from your team. You're actually allowing them to go to where they can function better. And that to me is great service. Michael.
Absolutely. I think Obina had a question there. Uh,
Okay. All right. So let me throw up Obina's question. Okay. This is this is a conversation I've had with him many times. It says,
come on,
Michael,
Obina. Absolutely.
would you agree that your why can sometimes be a long and lonely journey? Michael, go ahead with this.
Can I can I just give you one word response to that, Obina? Are you okay with that? Is absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Like I always say to people, my wife is the closest person in my life, but she still doesn't understand my why. It's just, your why is just something that, look, if you're a believer like myself, is it's a I call it a covenant. It's like an agreement that you have with the Lord. You see, He gives that to you. Nobody else would understand it. That is what is driving your behavior. That is what is driving your activities. Some will not understand it and don't try to make them. Some will not agree with it and don't try to make them agree with it. Provided you're convinced that this is what you've heard and this is what you're about, then keep walking. I said to Aniekon yesterday, I said, I said in that video, Anieko said to send to him, I said, walking the pathway of champions is not a slogan, it's a lifestyle. Anieko, I'm sure, would agree that sometimes it feels it's all alone. I know the years he started it. I know how long he's been doing it for. You know what I mean? And if his why is not strong enough, he would have parked this program a long time ago. He would have parked it. But it's the why that is driving him to still keep doing it. So, but some people don't understand why he's still on the. They'll say, "Oh, he's Nigeria. Come on, Anieko, what are you trying to do?" He's like, no, 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 no. His why is so great that even if it's going to take 40 years, the result is going to get at the end of it. It would have been worth the time. People would not understand it, because it's not for them to understand. It belongs to you. That's why it's your why, not theirs. And it's your why. It's from Anieko said something very, very poignant. It's from your why, it's from the positioning of your why that you determine which other whys are in alignment with it. Because some have come to sabotage your why. Just get that. Some people's interest in your business or in your company or in your opportunity is just to sabotage your why. That's why Nieko said protect it. Protect your why. So yes, it's a lonely road. Absolutely. And it's gonna try. Sometimes, I mean, I don't hide this. I was telling Anya because sometimes 2 a.m. you wake up, you sit in the sofa, and you even shed tears sometimes. Like, should a grown man be crying? He just shed tears and he just said, you know what, Lord, just give me the strength, man. Give me the courage. Let me just keep going, man. There's a scripture that I love. I can't remember what part of the Bible it comes from. For those that believe in the Lord, as I do, it said, "You may not see the rain or the wind, but your valley will be filled with water." That's a powerful
Mm,
scripture. Some of us are on
mm,
paths that we've been doing what we've been doing for such a long time, but we haven't yet seen the rain or the wind. But God said your valley will be filled. Hold on to that promise. Your valley will, is not may be filled, will be filled with water because it's coming. It's coming. But you got to understand that when Joseph was in the pit and Joseph was in the prison, if he didn't hold on to the dream, would he have seen the palace? Come on, let's just think about it for a second, Obina.
yeah,
You say you want to do something, you have great ideas, you want to go places, and then God drops you in the pit and turns you into a slave for X amount of years, and then after turning you into a slave, he puts you in a prison. Come on, man. And then in that prison, remember when they came to take out the two people that were with him, the butler and the what's it called? The butler and the was it the two that were with Joseph in
yeah.
prison
But
that
we
time?
him, the ones that shared
Yeah.
the room with, yeah.
So now this is an answer to Obina's question. You know what happened? They took those two away. Remember when they're going to take those two? Joseph told them, "Don't forget me. When you get out there, don't forget me." But what did they do? They forgot him. But what happened to Joseph in the prison? He was alone. He was alone. And in that prison, God was already setting up his destiny for him. That when he came out of prison, he was going to be the most powerful man in Egypt aside Pharaoh himself. Come on, man. Just look at he was alone in prison. Why? Because the vision is about to be birthed. The why is about to come alive now. So, yes, you're going to feel all alone, mate. You're going to feel all alone.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said earlier, I know Obina personally. He's someone I hold in very high esteem. And I remember when he was celebrating it was last year. It was his 50th birthday. In the video message I sent to him on his 50th birthday, I said to him that I've been truly honored to have had the front row seat to his tenacity, to his strength, to his courage, to his grit. All right, because you've got to have clarity of vision to keep on the journey. Because without clarity, you will take anything and think perhaps this is how it should go. Like Joseph could have said, maybe this is really how the journey should go, and maybe not this way. But because of his why, and I've seen this also for Obina because of his why. And the many times, and I tell you, man, many times I'm not, I didn't agree with him. Sometimes I thought he was stressing me out. Sometimes I thought he was, but you know what? I learned all that. I learned all that. Okay, so he says, let me put this up. It says, Obina just said, okay, no, that's not from your vision is about about them. Yes, beauty. There's a comment I saw. I'm trying to put up. Okay, it says Annie. Thinking aloud now and listening to Michael. One can write a book titled "Your Why." Absolutely, 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 Obina.
It's
Yes, there's a book that needs to come out. Your Why, because it's essential. It's everything. It's the foundation for what keeps you going. It's what gets you up in the morning. It's why you do what you do. It's why you say no to some things and why you say yes to some things. It's why you have delayed gratification. Is what determines what you prioritize and what determines what you are flexible with. Is what determines what you commit to and what you're not committed to. It's simply what defines you and defines much more than you, defines your experience. and gives an
Yeah.
understanding to your experience. And so when you take that to the team, and I like the way this conversation, Michael, God, I just look at the time. It's 21 minutes
No,
past
no,
the hour.
it's all right.
Are you
I tell you, I tell you, it's
okay?
fine.
Okay.
It's fine. Yeah.
Anyway, we'll be wrapping up soon, though. So,
Beauty is put
what,
something there.
okay.
He said something about your vision is about you, not about them. Absolutely. I think one of the things, beauty. Can I just comment on that quickly, Aniekon? You see, one thing
Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
believe with vision is, you know, on the journey or on the road to for that vision to materialize on that road, there will be people that want to join the bandwagon, right? But what you need to understand is your vision that God has given you, there are people tied to that vision. That when you actualize that vision, there are lives that will be liberated through that vision. Now, there will be distractors along the way. They don't always have
Hmm.
the best interest at heart. They're not really there to actually empower your vision. They're just there as distractors. And there are ways you identify people that are distractors. And one of the key elements of distractors is excuses. They always want to, they're the naysayers. They always want to downplay the vision, or they always want to tell you, oh, do you think you're doing the right thing? Or how can you achieve that? These are distractors. But what I always look at is because of the people tied to your vision, it's important to kind of analyze which is more important to you, to keep these distractors in your life or to eliminate the distractors so that you can deliver the vision and liberate the people tied to it. The Bible says, for the joy that was set before Christ, for the joy that was set, he endured the cross and he despised the shame. So there's always something you have to be looking at, say, because of this thing he's giving to me, and because of the people that I tied to it, I can't allow these people to distract me from it. You need to identify these things and don't be sentimental, don't be emotional, cut people off. I give you when I came into England years and years ago, most of my friends already lived here. Some of them were born here. Some of them were doing all types of deals to survive. When I came, I didn't have a job, and I said, "Oh, how you doing? I'm looking for a job." They said, "Oh, Michael, man, we don't know per hourly paid jobs. We only know deals and stuff like that. Are you game?" And here, for a moment, I started to think this is quite tempting. They said, "You know what? There's a deal coming and your cut will be £4,000." But they wanted to use my home address, they wanted to use this and that. And I know that if they use all of that stuff, I'll be blacklisted. And I also know that I would also keep this relationship if I don't do something drastic. Annie, I need you to ask me a question. If you don't ask me, I'm not going to tell you what I did. Ask me, what did you do?
What did you do?
I took the SIM card out of my phone and I flushed it down the toilet. I said a number I can't remember. I can't keep
You
contact.
can't get in touch. Boom.
Look, protecting your why is not a statement, Aniekon, that you just say.
No, it's not.
It's it's
No,
it's an action that you take. A lot of people say, Michael, you're private. You don't really talk a lot. I just weigh certain things. I look at the scale and I say, you look, friends either lift you up or bring you down.
true
Nobody ever
that.
leaves you just the same as you are. You're
True
either gonna
that.
get better or you're gonna
Or you
get
get worse.
or worse. Nobody leaves it the same. You have to identify this type of people in your business, in your organization, because I'll tell you one thing, some people are just there, they're time wasters, they're distractors, they're not there for the real business, they don't align with your vision, they're not there to empower your vision. You have to identify, you have to cut ties. You can't be sentimental and you can't be emotional because the people tied to your vision is too important for you to waste any one more time, holding on to these people with excuses. That's what I'm gonna say, beauty.
Amazing, amazing. All right, so I'm gonna have to pull the plug on this episode today. I truly do not want to stop. I mean, there's so much, and guys, guess what? We have not even done half of what we want to talk about. That's the truth. We have not even done, but the conversation had to be had. We had to take, we had to just follow it in the direction that it went to. So I just want to quick
Absolutely.
say
Yeah.
I am so thankful to you, Michael. I'm obviously, like I said to you privately yesterday, I'm going to say publicly, you're coming back. You're coming back.
I'll be honored. I'll be honored
You
to.
know,
I'll be
we
absolutely
just
honored
look at
to.
the calendar and see what date works. If we can bring you back this month, maybe at the end of the month, we will. If we can bring you back next month, we will. But you're definitely coming back. You're just more than a guest. You're part of a family. Guys,
I'm a brother.
I've known Michael since 1990. All right, since
That's a long time.
1990, secondary school. I've
I
known Michael
know.
since 1990, and we weren't always like this, right? So it's an amazing thing to be able to connect with him and to share this time. I want to say a massive thank you to you, Michael. Thank you for coming.
Thank you
We
so
actually
much,
started
Annie.
today's episode. We started today's episode at 6:50 because we thought Michael would be jumping up at 7:30 because he had
I
a
didn't get a
meeting.
reminder. Yeah, I didn't
All
get a
right,
reminder, so I just decided, you know what, I might as well stay.
and then look at us now. This is running on to 8:30, and I've had such an amazing time. It almost feels like it was just 20 minutes. But look at us,
I
man. It's
know,
been
right?
so phenomenal. So before I go, a couple of announcements before we move out of the studio. A couple of announcements. I want to invite everybody to join me. I have a couple of events for the next few days. So let me just run through them. I'd like you all to join me. I have an Instagram live session at 8 p.m. West African time tomorrow. I'll be joining a couple of other profound gentlemen. It's conversation for men, and the lady invited, and we're going to be talking about what it means to be the head and how it has been abused and misconceptualized and all of that. So we're talking about conversations for men. I will share on my Instagram page. For those of you here that don't follow me on Instagram, please do drop a message in the comment section, and I will share my Instagram page. Or if there's anyone that has my Instagram handle, you can share that for me as well. On Tuesday, I'm going to be having an amazing time. Wait, so Monday is Instagram 8 p.m. West African time. Tuesday at 8 p.m. West African time on Telegram. I'll get that detail. It's going to be an amazing time talking about activating your voice. And I'm going to be hosting another brilliant gentleman, someone else who I've also known since 1990, Jimmy Tewe. All right, so Michael, Jimmy, and I were all in the same class. Amazing. So there's something about that
I
generation.
know.
Tell me about that generation. All right, so I'm gonna be hosting
And
GB Tayway on the 5th of April. So if you'd like to be a part of that on Telegram, send me a message. So I can. It's a closed group. All right. So if you want to be, you have to let me know so that I can add you to the Telegram group. Promises to be an amazing time. Activating your voice. If you ever have a message for the world, then you've got to pay attention to how that message is delivered. And your message is your why. Guys, your message is your
mm,
why. But if you can't communicate your why, it's one thing for you to know your why. It's one thing for you to understand your why. Ladies and gentlemen, it's another thing for you to be able to communicate your why so that others can receive it. And there
absolutely.
are people that need to be able to receive your why so that they can go ahead of you and open doors for you. I call them godly butlers. All right. So they can open doors and windows of opportunities for you. So if you can't communicate your why, you need a voice to be able to communicate your why. And if you can't communicate your why, then you're going to have your why inside of you. And what was designed to find expression, if it is not, it will implode in you. That's why you have a lot of gifted people that are very frustrated. A lot of brilliant people that are highly frustrated because they've not been able to communicate. There's a way to communicate your why so that people can place value on it. People can receive it and honor it and find expressions on how you can key your why into it. So it's very important.
Yeah.
Monday, conversations with men. Tuesday, activating your voice with Jimmy Terry. So look forward to that. Send me a
As
message and I'll sure to add you to the group. I'm just going to
as I,
say this. Final words, Michael, before we let you
yeah,
go.
as I
Final words.
close, first I just want to thank everyone who's been on the platform today. On the term beauty, I think Okimota beauty and Obina as well. And I think some names have already gone down the thread that I can't see. I just want to thank you all for
Yeah.
being part of the meeting today. I want to thank ANIEFIOK for the platform that is actually created. I think this is a very powerful platform. You know, it might be little beginnings, but the latter end shall greatly increase. I believe that a lot
Yeah.
about this platform. One thing I'm just going to say is we've talked a lot about teams, performance, leadership, but I think actually said something about, you. It's like you have to point to yourself, because I believe that one of the key things in any sort of endeavor is your first and foremost job as a leader is to take charge of your own energy, because that energy is going to help to orchestrate the energy of those around you. So that's what you need to always remember. And that ties in with your why as well. You need to take charge of your energy, and then your energy would help you to orchestrate the energy of other people around you. Now, why is that important? When you orchestrate the energy of people around you, some people will not, I'll use the word Aniekon said, they will not align with your energy. I think the Bible also says, how can two walk together lest they be agreed? Deep calleth unto deep. For people that would actually drive the vision forward, you need to be able to identify the energy that is emanating from them in line with the vision you have. And I think that would help you to really identify who should be on the train and who should be dropped off the train. So,
All right.
as I close,
Absolutely.
and in my
Absolutely.
social
Absolutely.
media handle, if you can help me pop it in the group for beauty, my Instagram handle is yeah, beauty
Yeah,
has just
that's
been
it, right?
popped in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's Michael's Instagram handle. We'll also just drop that on the comments on Facebook and LinkedIn as well. All right. So thank you very much, everyone. It's been amazing sharing a Sunday
thank
evening
you,
with you.
thank you,
I
thank you. Have
look
a blessed week.
forward.
Have a productive week. Go
Amazing,
and smash
amazing.
it.
So smash it, make the most of it, and we'll see you
Go
again.
and
Let's keep
smash it.
connecting. All right, then. Much love to everyone. Good night, Ogalbi.
Good night.
Much honor. Everyone,
Bye.
I'm fun. Stephanie, everybody. Good night, everyone.